AFL Today's huge preview show for round 14 is here. Lads, what do we talk about?
I'm looking for the Bond to have a mega huge game against the Saints. Give the man a Brownlow.
Mega huge. Marcus?
And I'm looking at someone to have 40 disposals in back-to-back games. Was it Tom Mitchell, Gary Ablett? Who was the last person to do it? I don't know. But I think it's going to be Max Holmes.
There we go. Check out the AFL Today Show right now. Welcome back to the AFL Today Show, brought to you by Stockhead, here for all of your preview needs for round 14. I'm your host, Liam McAllion, also known as the Stats Guy. His neck may not be locked in, but he is locked in. Liam in the corner. How you going, Liam?
That is just absolutely too soon. For the people playing at home, my neck is not good. But I'm good.
There we go.
My neck isn't.
Oh, that's good. You'll be fired up for the show. There we go. Marcus wanted me to say that. We've also got Marcus Bazzano. He's excited. He's getting a new car tomorrow. The fans wanted to hear about that. There we go.
I slept okay, so my neck's fine. I can sit in the middle.
Give us a car impression.
I could do the J from In Between his motorbike.
That sounded like Homer with the chainsaw.
Is that the Charlie Cameron?
Yeah, Charlie Cameron. He hasn't done that much this year. We've got another awesome show as we've delved into all the matchups, tips, a few tough ones as well. We got the stats, debates, locks, big calls. I'm going to get a lock right this week, boys, because that's been woeful by me.
Well, the locks for a reason.
And they're going to be locked in this week, I can tell you that. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please, if you hit the notifications bell, it goes a long way. Follow AFL Today across all the socials. That's AFL Today AU across X, TikTok, and Instagram. Facebook is actually Aussie Rules Today, so jump on there. We've also got our beers posts. Leo, any teaser there?
We've got no idea what we're doing. We'll work it out after this show.
That's exactly what I love to hear. And we're going to do another giveaway. We gave away last couple of months. You can get a T-shirt. You can get a 4-pack of beers, the beautiful beers. So jump on that. And of course, you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast platforms. All right, round 13 previews. Here we go. The bye is actually for Richmond, Collingwood, Sydney, and Gold Coast. So few less games this week, but still a lot of good footy. So round 13 will start on Thursday night. St Kilda versus the Western Bulldogs. Thursday night, 7:30 at Marvel Stadium. Leo, you love St Kilda and you love tipping them. I don't know if you're going to do that this week.
I love St Kilda, but I want to start on the Dogs here. So obviously off the bye, they lose to Hawthorn. It was a bit of an off game. Post-bye blues, I think we sort of labelled it. So I want to see their bounce back in this one. You know, Libba didn't have a disposal in the last quarter of last week. Can he step up? Bont wasn't at his blistering best, even though he was still pretty good. And Norton is another one I want to see lift against. Probably, it's a strong back line, but not the strongest of back lines. So yeah, I want to see lift.
Who does Wilkie go to?
I think Wilkie goes to Norton because I think Dougal goes to Sam Darcy.
He's back
in the side. This is a huge in for the Dogs. Yeah, I think he injured himself the last time these two teams played, which was round 6 this season.
Yeah.
So he's back for the Saints. Saints fans will be hating that, by the way. Just like, we've got to play Darcy twice, and he's out for 2 months in between. But he's an absolute force to be reckoned with. He'll be an incredible in for the Dogs.
Yeah, there's a bit of PTSD for Sam Darcy. It's almost like that show Severance. He went in the elevator, locked out, came back, and he's at the same game at Marvel Stadium against St Kilda.
Just like he never left.
Yeah,
just like he never left.
Yeah, there you go. In that game, Dogs won by 71 points.
So, I keep forgetting about that one. Come on,
it was an absolute smashing. The Saints actually started well in that one, but Dogs just midfield went rampant. They got on top. And for the Saints, they're likely to have Jack McRae back. I think
that's the rumour. Yeah, we haven't heard just yet.
So he needs to play if there any chance. I know he played last time they played, but I just think there's a real lack of midfield depth without him. And I just think because we look back to that matchup, and it's still fresh in my mind that the Dogs midfield, they killed them out the middle all day, clearance domination. How do we think the Saints midfield can go against that? The Dogs coming off an off week as well.
They are. You talked about those players that had an off midfield day in the last quarter, particularly when they needed to stand up against Hawthorn. You could throw Ed Richards into that mix. He only had 9 disposals. He had a great game still, but he only had 9 disposals after half-time and had limited impact. But against the St Kilda midfield, who are getting bossed a little bit since they've lost McRae, I feel like you just got to get body on McRae. Like, if he does play, just soften him up, bruise him a little bit, give him a few bumps.
He's getting their old teammate. They should have done that to Baslenka. Should they do that to Bailey? Should they do that to Jack McRae? Probably should.
A Libba job, that one.
I think
to get into him.
Absolutely. They got the midfield to do that as well, and then they got the outside runners. I feel like as well outside of the contest in the middle. The Bulldogs, more so than St Kilda.
Definitely.
Yeah, you talked about Ed Richards, Marcus. He's had 2+ goals in his last 3 matches. against teams lower than them on the ladder. So bit of a surprising one because he's not known for his goal kicking, but he's improved his clearances, he's improved his disposals, and he's improved his goal kicking, which has helped the Dogs take that next step. And that's why you got to say that their midfield is a lot better than the Saints, unfortunately, for Saints fans.
He's gone from a role-playing half-back, Richards, to a goal-kicking mid. I don't think many of us had that on our bingo card 2 years ago.
And he's probably the best red-headed player in the competition.
That's low bar.
What was it?
I said low bar.
Low bar, yeah. Who else is up there?
That's a story for another show.
Yeah, I reckon.
His parents might love him this time.
Bang. And he has a soul. Anyway, tips and margin for this one. What do we think, lads? Leo, you start us.
I think Dogs by 16. But
close.
Last time in this matchup, I tipped the Saints and they got smashed. So I'm tipping the Dogs and watch St Kilda win. Go the Saints.
Oh, my God.
Did you not learn your lesson from not tipping St Kilda against Melbourne? What if they win?
Well, then they win and I'm happy.
I don't know about that one. Dogs by 16 is what, Leo, Marcus, what do you got?
I'm on Dogs by a little bit more. I'm going to go 36, 6 goals.
36, yeah.
Sam Darcy back's going to be huge.
I think, Sam Darcy, I had it about 30. I'm going to go up to 40 now just because he can kick a few goals at least, Sam Darcy. And if McRae's in or out, even if it's his first game back, I think that's going to be a tough one for the Saints. Friday night footy, you've got Hawthorn taking on Adelaide at UTAS Stadium in Launceston, 7:40 this one on Friday night. We've got Marcus covering this one.
Yeah, we do. And we talked about the Hawthorn pressure on Sunday and how they eclipsed their tackle count from the previous 2 weeks. They, in fact, combined, they eclipsed that. We need to see that again against another top-quality opposition in Adelaide, who arguably are the form team of the competition apart from the Pies.
Yeah, Leo was calling them contenders on the Rap Show.
I was, and I will continue to do that for the next 2 days.
2 days.
Until we'll see the result.
He sounds so confident.
I'll readjust.
Okay.
Do we need to see them win this game as contenders, Hawthorn?
Well, I think both teams.
Both teams,
I think Adelaide are, I've said on the Sunday show, I think they're the second best team right now.
That's crazy.
And if they lose, then I'm going to obviously reevaluate that opinion. But if they win, then that just reaffirms it. And then for Hawthorn, it puts them firmly back in that. They're the bottom half of that contender conversation.
Who do we think about more, the loser of this game? What ramifications does it have on the team?
We think about more.
I think Hawthorn, because a lot of teams don't travel down to Launceston very often. Obviously, Hawthorn play a fair few games there every year. And it's more on Hawthorn. They played really well last week, obviously beat the Dogs. If they can do it 2 weeks in a row, we go, Hawkball's back. Then Guinea might show another ball to the crowd or to show the ball to the other opposition, and then you'll say Hawkball's back. Because they lost that charm, that Hawkball for the last 6 weeks or whatever you want to call it. That dog in them you talked about on the weekend.
Sure.
You did say that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, what a surprise.
Well, normally weather is an impact in Launceston as it was for Hawthorn and GWS earlier in the year.
Yes.
But actually, it's just going to be clear skies, sunny, barely any wind. So this could play into Adelaide's hands with particularly their big body forwards. We look at the Tex, Fogarty and Thilthorpe.
Yep.
They're all in the top 10 for goals kicked so far this season. But on the flip side, we're going to have a look at Hawthorn's new recruits, in particular the big body recruits in defence with Barras and Battle. Leo, how much of an impact have they had to their Hawks defence? How big of an impact have the recruits been?
I think they've been really strong for us. I think, I don't trust Battle kicking the football, nor really Barras, but I think...
Well, that's not a good start.
Well, they're in the team to defend.
That's
That's their role, and I think as backmen, they've done really well.
Barras did come under fire against Brisbane for, not jumping into a hard ball when he could have done. Has he improved on that in recent weeks, as in particularly the win last week?
I think he has. I think he was critical on Norton last week. He played a great job on him. Norton did nothing. And I think this is the game for why we got these big guys in, these big recruits to take the monster forwards, because Thilthorpe, Walker and Fogarty are probably the best three-prong key forward attack. And
yeah, Benny Keys in there as well.
Benny Keys was not a key forward. But
I just meant just for the goal kicking.
Oh, you could also add Rochelle and Rankin and Neil Bullen. And
exactly.
You could add everyone in that Adelaide team. So thanks for that insight.
I was trying to be nice to Adelaide, mate.
So if we're keeping it back on track with the Hawthorn matchups here, we've got Barras playing on Thilthorpe, most likely.
Yes. Yep.
Battle on Fogarty, and then it's sort of a toss-up who goes to Tech. So this is the game why Hawthorn recruited these guys for. So can they step up? It'll be a big point.
Who would you like to see go to Tex? Do you bring someone in to go to Tex?
The sub
If
vest.
Scrimshaw's fit, potentially Scrimshaw.
Or the sub vest.
Interesting.
Getting a bit old.
Sub vest.
Yeah, he can go to Tex.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
You've redeemed yourself.
Thank you.
Well done.
And also, in 2023, the Crows actually won this matchup in Launceston, and it was one of the big boys who sealed the game. It was Darcy Fogarty
That was
on the
a
boundary
great
line.
kick.
It was a great kick. It was about 35-40 out on
And
the
he
boundary.
drop punted it.
And he drop punted it through the big sticks in Launceston. But, Liam, Hawthorn obviously are the team in the home slot, and they do have a good record when that is the case.
Yeah, so Leo would be happy. When he goes to the footy, they pretty much win every single time. 12 of the last 13 home matches, the Hawks have won. Obviously, that Brisbane one, I think, is a bit of an outlier because Brisbane just absolutely lifted for that game, but they've been pretty good at home.
Well, I have gone to away games at the G. And
I meant home
I know
games,
you
but
mean.
it's a pretty good stat if it's literally the opposite of
I
my
get
team.
your drift.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, we'll talk about the contenders. Do we want to touch on that at all anymore, or are we all good there?
Well, I think they're both, either way, they're both going to be there and abouts and playing. I see both of these sides playing finals come the end of the season.
Yep.
It's just whether this win could go a long way into either side, scraping into that top four.
Yep, good
What
call.
if we see these two teams in a final?
That would be a really fun
It
final.
would be a fun
A
final.
bird bowl.
Bird bowl.
There's
Yeah.
a few bird teams.
There we go. Tips and margin. I feel like we might be swayed in this one. We'll start with Marcus. Who are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go the Crows just because I talked about weather not being as much of a factor as it normally is down in Launceston. And I just think that Adelaide forward line, they have so much scoring prowess. And let's see if those Hawks recruits can deal with it. But I'm going to go Adelaide Crows by a kick.
A kick, Leo.
Oh, I'll go Hawks by under a kick. I just, in Tassie, I know the conditions you said, Marcus, don't worry you, but they worry me for the Crom. That's where my tip lies.
Can you tell how tense this man is about this game?
He's a bit nervous.
He's a bit
Tense.
nervous. He's a
Arms
bit
I've got
nervous.
a tense neck.
Yeah, that's
about it.
I'm going to go Hawks by 8. I think this will be a really close one. The Crows the last couple of years have had so many close games, but I'm going to go the Hawks down in Launceston. All right. Saturday, here we go. Saturday footy. Brisbane versus GWS is the next one. Saturday, 1:20 at the Gabba. I want to start on this, lads. Love for the fullbacks. Now, we did a little bit of this on the wrap show, but we just talk about the mids. We talk about the forwards all the time. You've talked up Adelaide's backline, but two of the best fullbacks in the business here are Harris Andrews and Sam Taylor, which is just so good to watch. The intercept marks, the spoils. Who do you think can have a bigger impact in this one out of those two?
Ooh, that's a great question. What do you think?
I think Sam Taylor will definitely outwork Eric Hipwood, so therefore he will have the bigger
Yeah.
impact. But if Harris Andrews can get on top of Jesse Hogan, then that'll be a bigger scalp and arguably have a bigger tie on the result.
Oh, that's a lot better answer than I thought that you were going to
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not even going to follow that.
I think that was a great answer. Yeah, there we go. We've obviously got no Toby Green in this one.
Yeah.
Looked like he got shot last week, which is not ideal.
It's not ideal when you look like you get shot.
No,
You know what's worse?
getting shot. You would know.
My neck feels like it's been. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
That's right.
It's not the first time you've been stiff talking about Brisbane.
Whoa, that's another podcast.
I don't even know what to say. About that.
This couch is very rattled. The other one I want to say, out of Toby Green out of the side, can Josh Kelly step up as that leader? He needs to lift. He's had a 2.6 clearance average this season. He's played a lot forward.
He has come back from injury too.
Come back from injury, but I think this is the game where he needs to lift. He's had 6 score involvements per game, which is pretty solid. But I would like to see that up to like 8 or 10 in this game, and then a couple more clearances, and then a couple of goals, just to be that massive impact without Toby Green in the side. Would you say that's fair, lads?
I think that's completely fair. I think alongside Tom Green, sort
Yep.
of a 1-2 punch, and potentially they get Callahan back. I think, is he a test?
Yeah, I tried to have a look. Stringer, Callahan.
Callahan to that midfield would help, but Kelly still needs to live for mine. So you raise a good point.
Yep. And then for the Lions, I think a lot of the young guys have stepped up, specifically Jasper Fletcher. I think he's having an awesome year. He just attacks the footy. He's really quick. He can run both ends of the
Great
ground.
user.
But on the other end, a bit more experience, Zach Bailey. Now, we've been up and down on him all year. Marcus, you've got some thoughts on him?
hate him.
I've not been sold on Zach Bailey since his debut. Every season, he's played 153 games, boys. That's a lot of games of footy. I didn't think he played 153.
more than me.
I think he debuted in about 2018, but he hasn't kicked multiple goals since round 8. And boys, where does he fit? Like, what sort of player is he? Like, is he the Cam Rayner type where he's up forward, he gets out of the contest in the middle, he's a bit of a brute, he can get 2 or 3 goals a game? Or is he that Hugh McCluggage, wide-ish sort of player that has an impact going in their delivery inside 50?
Well, I think he's a mid forward, but they've got so many class mids that he kind of gets pushed out and becomes that high half forward. And you've got, Neil, Dunkley, McCluggage, as you mentioned, Rayner, and then you add in the Ashcroft brothers. I'm probably missing people as well. You can't really get into that midfield. So I think he should be playing in an ideal world 50-50,
Yeah.
but he's not. So the high half forward role is probably one that isn't always suited to him and how he plays.
Look, he's getting career high disposals just about by, I think, about one.
That's okay.
But he's still having no impact. He has the lowest AFL rating points across his last 5 seasons. He has the lowest 1%ers in his career. So when you need him to be in and out of the contest, he needs to produce those 1%ers. Got the lowest shot at goal accuracy in his last 6 seasons. And he also has the lowest amount of pressure acts in his entire career.
Jeez.
Hate on him more.
Yeah, he's not going to watch this show anymore, Marcus. Come on.
With your life?
He's one that needs to be a barometer for the Lions. And he has the potential. He has the potential to be a world-class player. We just haven't seen him.
World-class.
We haven't seen him hit that potential yet.
Mate, he would dominate in, where did Liverpool play? Vietnam.
International rules, he would be great.
International rules, AFL Europe, he'd be dominating.
100%.
He'd be dominating. And I do rate that call, though, because we know what he can produce. He just needs to be a little bit better. So fair call by Marcus. Both teams are desperate to perform in this one. 5 of the last 6 Lions games have been decided by 18 points or less. Obviously, there's been a lot of wins in there that draw to North, but we just haven't seen that dominance. And I think that's not what you want to see from a Premier, the Premiers last year. You want to see them win a big game. So it'd be interesting to see if it's another close one here. The Giants as well. They want to find some consistency. They've lost 3 of their last 5. Just losing games. They
lost to Richmond.
Shouldn't have lost. Almost lost to Richmond. Should not have lost to Sydney with all their outs, and lost to Port Adelaide last week in a massive shock result. So 3 games in the last 5 that are just a bit of a worry. So a little bit worried about the Giants there.
I'm definitely worried about the Giants.
Yeah, I just
definitely worried.
They should be playing a lot better, but hopefully that tsunami comes back because they're so fun to watch.
Yeah, and that feeds into my margin. I got Brisbane winning by 5 goals.
Ooh, 28 points. Leo?
Lions by 9. Zach Bailey kicks 3 and says stuff you.
I want him to do that. I want him to prove me wrong.
Zach Bailey legacy game, and we get him on the show to.
Well, you know what they say: you never trust a person with 2 first names.
Ooh,
that's why I've never trusted you, Liam.
McAllion, yeah, real
Liam Stats Guy.
Yeah, Stats Guy. That's a real big first name. I'm going to go the Lions by 12 points. It's just one of those games where I think the Giants will bounce back. They're playing better against the better teams, and the Lions haven't kicked away from anyone. Like, they haven't had a big game in a while, other than that Collingwood game. Oh, sorry, not the Collingwood game. Was it Geelong? They've beaten one team by a lot.
It was Collingwood in the opening round.
Collingwood, sorry. Since then, opening round. Yeah. So there we go. So Lions by 12 points for me. All right, next one on Saturday, 4:15, Essendon versus Geelong at the MCG. This is the country game. Should be played in the country. It's at the MCG in the middle of the city, but we'll all be there actually watching this one. So, Leo, here we go.
Yes, we'll be locked into this one for sure. Look, it's not looking good for Essendon on the surface, is it? Cats have won their last 7 meetings that these two teams have played. No players back for the Bombers, so the injury list remains injured. But we're normally on green shoots watch for Richmond, but we're going to be on them for Bombers this week. That. We've got 2 in mind I want to just keep a keen eye on. Angus Clark, who obviously 3 goals on debut. He's impressed me playing that sort
well last
outside wingman role. And then you've got Zach Johnson, sort of the accumulator, playing in the back line. But he's a midfielder. He's just playing down back. So those are 2 that in recent weeks have really stood out to me. And I think Bombers fans would want to see them go well again this week as well.
100%. But one of the green shoot sort of players, although he played every game this season, Isaac Kako. I think he needs to stand up. He's only kicked. We've been saying that
for a while, but it's his first
6 goals. First year, I know, but. This could be a game in the Pracky game. You know, you don't read much into it, but we did play against Geelong down in GMHBA, and he kicked 4 goals in that game. He did have a feast, so hopefully he'll have a little bit of confidence, more so heading into this game against Geelong to hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, don't mind it. And enough of the green shoots. We look for the experienced players. Zach Merritt, roll watch. Talked about this, Marcus. You brought up you don't want him to play backline anymore. You want him on ball. I want to see him in the guts against Holmes and possibly Baz. I think Baz will be
Imagine he doesn't play in the guts, and then you leave all the younger guys to come up against Holmes and Bailey Smith, probably the best one.
Well, they're not younger guys. You still got Caldwell and Parrish.
Yeah, but they're not on Merritt's level.
They're not. But they could handle Holmes and Baz. But you put your best players in the best positions. I think.
Tell that to Brad Scott.
Just a little bit of a watch on that one, I think.
Yeah, I think Merritt and Atkins would be a terrific watch. Throughout the game. I think Merritt could get away from it.
Atkins has the pressure.
Yeah, they're both sort of dogs in the contest. So.
Yes, in their own way too. Yes. Which is unique to AFL. Last point I want to touch on in this one is the scoring in the last 5 games for both of these sides. So Geelong averaging 104, Essendon only 66. And if we just want to list out the names at either end, Cats, you've got Jezza, Danger, Stengel, Myers close. Even Neil could pop up if he's playing. And then, for the Bombers, Caddy's been
Solid.
great.
Yeah.
He's been probably not consistent, but a real shining light. Peter Wright, Jade Gresham, Guelphy. There's a clear difference in class there. And I just think that in itself could paint the picture. And I think if Bombers are going to want to win this game, it's going to have to be,
a few more
five mils of rain and it's an absolute scrap fest for G. I think that's my envisioning for.
We'll see Marcus before the game. He's going to have a hose on the MCG just to
a few rain dances.
A few rain dances, I reckon.
Yes.
On the scoring that you mentioned, Leo, Geelong averaged 117 points against the Bombers in their last 6 meetings. So there's been a few games with above 130, and I think in 5 of those 6 they scored above 100. So
yeah.
And I don't think that Essendon have the capabilities to hit 100 points right now.
Yeah, I think with the outs as well for that Bombers back line, it's just going to be so tough to restrict Geelong to under 100. I think if Geelong are 99 and Essendon are 45, is that a win for you?
I don't think so.
No, anything more than 5-6 goals, then I'll be a little bit disappointed. I just want to see, like we did in the Brisbane game, you just put up a fight.
Yeah.
Leo will give you a hug if you're losing anyway.
I'll give him any time.
There we go. Tips and margin. Let's go. We'll start with you, Leo, because you talked about this one.
I think Cats by 8 goals, unfortunately.
8 goals. Ooh.
Yeah.
Geelong by 50 points. I just only see it being one-way traffic.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cats by 42. Essendon have kept in games that we thought they wouldn't. So I don't think it's going to be an absolute belting, but it should be 40 plus.
42 could be a belting, though, depending on how you look at it.
Well, a belting is like 80. I don't know.
True.
That's all right. Hey, Leo, quick question. Do you know what the ASX means?
Do you mean AFLX?
No, mate. The ASX, the Australian Stock Exchange.
Oh, man, I'm absolutely clueless with that stuff.
Well, lucky for you, Stockhead is a free website that gives you everything you need to know about punting stocks on the ASX.
Damn, that sounds pretty good. Where do I check them out?
Check it out via stockhead.com.au, and it's even easy for your little pea-brain to understand.
Damn.
All right, next one, Saturday night. I don't know how this one is the Saturday night. North Melbourne versus Fremantle, 7:35 at Optus Stadium. And it's a North Melbourne home game, Marcus.
Yeah, why did you buy it? North Melbourne against Fremantle,
Need the cashola.
the West Australian team at Optus Stadium. Freo will be licking their lips, particularly in the form that they're at now. They've got a couple of tasty away wins against Gold Coast and GWS. But in the last meeting, it was actually North that got on top by a single point at Optus Stadium.
Last meeting at Optus.
Last meeting at Optus, sorry, yes. Yeah.
That was the Jai Simpkin
Where
game.
Clarko...
I thought they lost in between that, no.
we did, but it was not Optus. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, was it at Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was the game where Clarko was on his knees celebrating and... Yeah.
Caro was angry at him
Yeah.
for being happy.
There was a whole fiasco there.
I think you said out of studio, Liam, that...
You hate Caro.
I didn't say that.
Don't even have to say that.
I love Caro.
But you were saying that Jai Simpkin... That was the start of the season where you won 2 in a row and you were up and about and then you lost 20 straight.
Yeah, we thought Clarko was the messiah. We thought Jaden Stevenson was a great pickup because he was dominating the first 2 games. Then he's playing local. Where's he playing now? I don't even know. Locally. Yeah, we've come a long way down since then.
Yeah, you've come a long way definitely.
Down.
But to make things even worse,
can we give some positivity?
This is for North Melbourne. This is a stat that North Melbourne fans don't want to hear. So I'll get the North Melbourne fan to read it out for you, Stats Guy.
Oh, this is your game. I don't have to read out.
I'm happy to read this one.
I'll read it out. I am the Stats Guy. North has lost their last 42 matches with a rest disadvantage. So we're coming off, what is it? How many days is that? 6 days instead of 7.
Good math, mate.
I don't even want to think about this.
Fremantle with the bye.
Well, you know what they say. 43rd time's the charm.
I bloody hope so.
So it's bound to happen.
Why did you make
eventually.
me read that out? That's mean.
We'll talk about Fremantle now. Are they the real deal after their big away scalps? They've obviously got a fairly easy fixture to come towards the end of the season. Do they need to smash North Melbourne for us to, consider them as contenders? Like if they only win by a goal or 2 and it's sort of a scrappy game, do we fall down a bit?
I don't think they will win by a goal or 2. I just think they'll win comfortably. And I think they are the real deal. I think they've really built into the season. Yes, they've had some bad losses to start the season. But I think AFL released either yesterday or this morning that they're actually the youngest average age
Really?
every side for the first 12 rounds this season.
Interesting.
So with that, keeping that in mind, the fact that they're, in the 8, got 3 games coming up at home that they should win quite comfortably, I think all things are looking up Fremantle. And I'm so excited now for Longmuir to just have an absolute vanilla masterclass and they lose the next three. Or the next three.
The vanilla. That's why I'm not 100% sold on them. So we all talked them up at the start of the season. I just want them to see them win those games pretty comfortably that they should. Because Freo the last couple of years they win the weird games like those away games that no one thought they were going to win. And then they'll lose, not this game, but some of the other games coming up. So I just want to see them a bit more consistency, a little bit more consistency.
Yeah, and I'm going to be looking out for those young North Melbourne players as well, particularly off halfback. We're looking at the likes of Coleman McKercher, who starred as well. So we're seeing on a bigger ground compared to Bunbury and a wider ground whether they can still have the same impact.
Yep.
And one that I think could have a lot of impact for Fremantle is Josh Tracy. Because Charlie Comben obviously came off injured. That's a big blow for North Melbourne because he has been one of North Melbourne's best. I think he's been North Melbourne's best player this year.
There's a guy that wears a helmet that's not named Caleb Daniel.
I don't think Comben's in their best 8 players this season.
Really?
I'd say
he's played
really.
No, I'd
3
say
or 4 great games, and the rest I don't think he's been up there.
I'd say he's top 3 easily.
Nah.
I'd say 5, 6.
I think Finn O'Sullivan's been better than Comben.
Anyway,
O'Sullivan's been a lot more.
Anyways, I think
consistent.
I think we talked about Tracy when he came up agained Port Adelaide. He let us down. He went goalless.
Oh.
He kicked a fat donut.
So does this mean because we're talking him up again, we should go to like Amos or someone or like Pat
Nah,
Voss?
he's going to do it. He's
Pat
going to do it.
Voss to kick 4 or something?
Pat Voss could get off
He
the
got
chain,
3 goals
actually.
last week.
The problem is he kicks more behinds than goals.
Yeah, that's very true. But Josh Tracy, we think it's going to be up thereabouts towards the Coleman medal leaderboard. So he's one I want to look out for. But there is a matchup that you're looking out for that you think is going to be pretty tasty.
Yeah, just quickly, just the ruck battle. Forget Sean Darcy. You got Luke Jackson versus Tristan Cherry, 2 of the best going around. They both average 28 plus hitouts, 18 plus disposals, and 4 plus clearances. That's just Luke Jackson's stats, by the way, because Cherries are a lot higher than that. But it'll just be a really fun battle because they can both collect the ball and both get clearances and both play as an extra midfielder as ruckman. All right, tips before we get to the next game. Leo?
Flag Mantle 47.
Oh, you call him Flag Mantle again, not Fraud Mantle?
No, I love him.
How many teams does this man love?
Dockers, 36 points.
I'm going to go Dockers. Just let's get it up a bit. 60 points. Because if North play like they did against West Coast last week, Freo aren't going to do the same as West Coast. So, yeah, I'm shook from that.
He's trying to put the Moz on North.
Oh, no, on Freo, you mean?
Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, Sunday fun day, as Leo likes to call it. Port Adelaide versus Melbourne. Sunday, 3:20 at the Adelaide Oval. Look, they both played pretty well last week. Melbourne only a 1-point loss. Could have beaten Collingwood if it wasn't for Max Gawn. No, it wasn't Max Gawn's fault.
All right, Stephen.
Yeah, no. It wasn't Max Gawn's fault. And Port Adelaide, just a great win over GWS. Tough midfields head-to-head, which is what I'm going to look at here. You got Track and Clary taking on Butters, Rosé. You can chuck Bergman in there. You can chuck Viney and a few other players.
I think Viney's injured, isn't he?
Oh, he's injured. So I just always think about Viney. But Track, Clary, Butters, and Rosé all average over 25 disposals, 5 score involvements. Just the workhorses of the team. So they're really good fun to watch. Melbourne, this is a bit of a surprising stat, lads, have won 3 of the last 4 meetings against Port at the Adelaide Oval. So bit of a surprising one there. And they are 11-5 at the Adelaide Oval across their last 10 seasons there, which is a bit of a surprising one as well. So they travel well there.
It is very surprising. And I like the fact that you brought up the midfield battle because a lot of these midfielders, they're not afraid to get, down and dirty and do the gritty stuff. And I think that's going to play into how this game will be played for a large part. It'll be pretty scrappy. And that's not a bad thing to say. I think it could still be a very close game, but I just think that's how it's sort of set up to go this game.
Yeah, you said it was scrappy and the stats do back that up. 11 of the last 12 meetings have actually gone under 148 total points. So pretty low scoring. A lot of them have been scoring like 70, 50 points, like per team and things like that, which is a little bit of a worry. And I think the back lines from both teams stepped up last week. So you got Radaglia even looked really strong last game. He shut down Hogan for big parts of the game. You got Bergman who goes back there and gets intercepts. Then you've got Bowie in great form. Your man, Jake Bowie. He looked good again on Monday. Yeah. Is he probably like the most underrated player?
I actually think one you didn't mention for Port, Alir.
Yes.
He's a fantastic player. And as I say that, I hope he isn't injured, and I've just brought up an injured player.
No, he's definitely underrated, yeah.
I think either halfback flank as well. There's so many great matchups like Jace Burgoyne and Judd McVie. I think are 2 excellent young players of the competition and who are doing very good at their role.
No, good call. And then you've also got, Bowie in great form, and then around May and Lever. Can Stephen May and Max Gawn kiss and make up and then go into this game?
Whatever happens, May is probably going to be kiss and Lever because No matter what they do, they're in love. I reckon every time you cut to them.
That's all right. That's what you need in the backline, a bit of love, I reckon.
Yeah.
Do we rate?
Not with any of your other teammates. That's fine.
Yeah. Do we rate Jake Lever's mustache? Just off the cuff. Yeah.
Good mustache.
I think it suits him. Yeah, cool. All right, tips and margin in this one.
He gave me nothing on
Yeah,
that.
I know. He's gave me nothing this whole game. Tips and margin. What do we think, Marcus? So you can say something in this game.
I think it's going to be a close one, and I actually fancy Melbourne the way they're playing at the moment.
That's
took
big
it up.
bias right there.
They took it up to the best team in the competition, and I think they can do it again. 9 points.
9 points. Yeah. Leo.
I think this is the toughest game to tip this round, including Hawthorn Adelaide.
Yeah. They're two teams that have been very inconsistent.
Yeah. And it's because it's, I think, going to be low scoring. It could really go either way. And I just think that home ground advantage. I know you brought up Melbourne stats at Adelaide Oval, but I'm not the stats man. So I disregard the stats. And I think Port win by under a kick.
Under a kick.
Under a kick.
There's going to be a lot of close games according to you.
Blockbusters.
Yeah, I just tipped Dockers by 50 and tipped another team, Geelong by 50. A lot of close games this week.
No, other than those two, I reckon they're all close. I think this is going to be close as well. I'm going to go D's by 10 points. That really good record at Adelaide Oval. I think the last sort of month and a half has been a turning point for the D's. They've had a couple little bit of few blips, but they look a lot stronger than Port in my opinion. So I'm going to go D's by 10 points. All right, the final game, blockbuster, 6:10 at Optus Stadium is West Coast versus Carlton. Leo, your game.
Well, we're halfway through the season and Carlton's playing West Coast twice.
Make that make sense.
No, we know it makes sense. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into that. But Carlton, they love playing against the Eagles. Maybe that's why the AFL's giving it to them. Last 5 average winning margin is 55 points. And Charlie Curnow just normally feasts, especially with no McGovern. In his last 7 games against the Eagles, Curnow has kicked 28 goals. That's an average of 4 per game. That's
quick
math right there.
Yeah, I couldn't do the math.
Stats guy couldn't do the math yesterday when we were
whipping up the calculator.
I want to know, boys, how much do we think West Coast are up for this game? Because they were competitive against Geelong, even though that margin got blown out. And the last week's loss was incredibly gut-wrenching for them as a club and as a fan base. Do we think that they can get up for this and actually show some fight? Or is it just going to be a blowout? It's going to be like the last 2 weeks, like, God, we tried so hard, we didn't get a win, and now it just comes crumbling down.
They'll be kicking their teeth knowing that they could have won those games. And I think that just spurs them on to get that winning feeling. Just when the siren wins, they want to be the one celebrating at the end. And Carlton, they weren't great against the Bombers, but they did enough to win, especially in that first quarter. So the Eagles will definitely look at some signs in Carlton and be like, look, we can exploit this. But likewise with Carlton, they can just get over the top, particularly in the midfield with that midfield depth is crazy.
Yeah. And West Coast, they've been a lot better at Optus Stadium, like staying in games. They've had a few like close games. Geelong, they looked really good for 3 quarters. If they play like they did against Geelong, it's going to be really close. But I agree with you, Leo, that there's been a few big build-ups the last couple of weeks, and this could all come crashing down this week because they were stuffed. They lost a bit of confidence last week, I reckon, kicking in front of goal. So I reckon this is the one where Carlton smoke them.
Yeah, I don't mind that call, stats man. And bit of an interesting stat. Maybe I will become the stats guy because I definitely did not take this from one of you boys. West Coast averaged more points than Carlton in their last 5 matches.
Really?
Yes, that is surprising. I did not expect that.
I believe West Coast averaged 74 points across their last 5. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the stat, and Carlton are just below that.
So there you go. The audience now know who I got that from.
There we go. Yeah, you do well with a few stats there. It's going to be an interesting one, but I think that Carlton could smoke them. I'm just going to say my tip. I'm going to say Carlton 40 plus. I'm going to say 40 points just at the very least. I think it will be pretty close for 2.5 quarters, and then Carlton will kick away, and Charlie Curnow will do what he does and make his goal tally look a lot better because he gets to play West Coast twice.
Yeah, don't mind it.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go Carlton by 32 points.
Okay, I think Blues by 50. I just think you guys spoke about it, but I just don't think West Coast can get up for this one. Like I think
it's tough.
Down, and I just think the clearance work for Carlton's mids is just going to be second to none in this game, and they'll give Charlie plenty of chances.
No, fair call. All right, that's all the games for round 14 previewed. We're going to have a look at a Coleman Watch. We've got the bye week, so we've got less games. Let's have a look at the Coleman Watch. Are you leading this one, Marcus?
Yeah, well, look, it's mid-season, so we'll play our mid-season picks, boys. At the end of this, I want you guys to say who you think will win the Coleman. Okay. Jeremy Cameron is the current favourite. He leads the Coleman by 5 goals. He's got 38. Ben King comes behind with 33, and then it's pretty close from there in terms of the favourites. But Jamie Elliott is actually the closest behind Jeremy Cameron with 34 goals. Obviously, I brought up that stat a couple of Sundays ago about the latest person below 180 centimetres to win the Coleman, and I think that was all the way back in 1950 something. I can't quite
1952, I
remember the
reckon.
legend's
He
name.
remembers because he was born there.
He was
Yeah,
born.
I'm so old.
That's when he was born. But there are a lot of others nearby. Obviously, Jesse Hogan, who was the reigning Coleman medalist. Charlie Kerner as well, who won twice before that. He's on 26, and we expect him to have a big week against West Coast this week. And as well as the Adelaide Twin Towers of Riley Thilthorpe and Darcy Fogarty with 28 goals. And then we have Larky Tracy, who...
Yeah, they're going all right, but...
Where is Jack Gunston and Marvia Chol? Sorry to cut you off, Stats
Yeah,
guy, but-
how many's Gunston on? 26?
26.
But he can't
Charles
win.
on, I think, 40.
Yeah.
Charles on 40, yeah, sure.
This is just according to the favourites list.
Oh.
So not the total tally, but according to the favourites list.
Discriminatory to Hawthorn.
But boys, out of this list,
Oh,
or
out of this
Gunston or
list.
Chol,
Okay.
you can
Well, that's
pick
my
one of
answer.
those. Both.
No,
They're
no,
both
it's-
going to share the
It's
Coleman
not my
medal.
answer. I'll
Let
take
him
it
cook.
seriously.
Let him cook.
Let me put my serious hat on. I think Jeremy Cameron. That's a boring answer, but
I got two reasons for
Geelong
that, yeah.
have a very easy.
I was
draw
going to say that, yeah.
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
Not just this Essendon game, but like he's got games against opponents that he should feast on. So it's hard to go against Jezza.
Yeah, I think the only person that can catch Jezza right now is Ben King, because Gold Coast is the only team that's sort of consistently scoring those big scores. They're scoring 100 points every game, and he's going to score a big chunk of them. But Jeremy Cameron's already 4 goals ahead. They've got an easy run, and he just feasts. He's been feasting against the lower teams, kicking 6 goals every week. So it's got to be Jezza, I reckon.
You know, I'm going to be fun. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm
You
going
are
to go
pretty
Jamie
fun.
Elliott.
Jamie,
Why not? Why not?
He could.
They play a lot of their games. They play 2 more games interstate for the rest of the season.
He loves the G.
He loves the G.
Yeah.
He's on 34 goals. He's only 4 goals behind Cameron. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's see him do it. If he just sticks to a cruisy 2-3 goals a game, what does he end the season on? About above 50. 50 probably about 55 goals. 55 goals.
You need 65, I think.
You reckon you need 65? Yeah, Jeremy Cameron. But also, if I want to go at all and not go Jeremy Cameron, I'll go Jesse Hogan, because I feel like he's the
He's
one.
been a
in the
bit off, but yeah.
He's the only, maybe Charlie, but he's the only one, the other one in the competition who, look, he'll get 6 or 8 goals in a game this season, which he has done already, and I think he can do again.
Yeah.
I think with Charlie's probably the one I'd keep an eye on, because he's on 26 goals now.
He could kick 10 against
He's got West Coast this week. If we kick, say, 7 against West Coast, which isn't out of the realms of possibility, he's got North in 2 weeks.
He's
the
not
powerhouse.
kicking straight enough for
He's
me.
not, but like, if after the North game, Charlie's kicked 7 against West Coast and 6 against North, he's in the Coleman race, I think.
So a bit of a watch on Charlie.
Bit of a watch from
But
Charlie.
it's Jezza's to lose. For
Yeah,
mine.
good call. All right, a lock of the week and big calls. Now I got to really lock
gotta lock
in
in
here.
for your
I'm
lock.
locking in. I'm not getting a lock wrong for the rest of the year, but we'll start
Well,
with
that's
Leo.
how it should go, really.
It should. I shouldn't even have to read it out. But Leo, what's your lock?
Port versus Melbourne goes the under 175 total points. We mentioned it being a scrap. I think, what'd you say, 11 out of the last 12, under 148?
Bang.
I just
How
have
did
to
you remember?
go.
You actually, that proves that he listens to me. This is the first show that he's ever
I
listened
think
to
it's
me.
just a little bit of me being on the spectrum. So, yeah, that's my lock.
I didn't know that. There we go.
Well, we just talked about Charlie having possibly a huge game against West Coast and maybe a smoky for the Coleman. I'm going to go Charlie Curnow, 2+ goals against the Eagles.
Look, it's
He loves
boring, but
playing
it's
the
a lock.
Eagles.
Oh, it's
Averages
boring.
4.
It's a lock.
You just
It's
called
a
it
lock.
boring.
No, but it's a lock, I said.
Hang on, boring. And then what's he going to say?
What's your...
Jezza coming up against the powerhouse of Essendon, 2+.
Oh,
So Charlie
boring.
2+ is boring, and then you go and do the
But
same.
Jezza 2+ is fine,
I
apparently.
think you lads need to understand that locks,
I was joking, mate.
they're locks.
I know, that's because he said boring the other week. Anyway, Jezza 2+
to
for me.
understand it too.
I think he's going to kick a few goals against the Bombers, so 2+. Surely he's going to bounce back last week. Better conditions this week, 2+. All right, big call. Big calls, lads, that we're going to get right. I'm really confident this week. Marcus, your big call?
I'm not confident.
Michael, Max Holmes, I expect him to have a huge day. Obviously, the Bombers have a lot of injuries, but they still have a lot of players in that midfield, but they don't necessarily tag. So, and we see a lot of players rack up big disposals, and I'm going Max Holmes to go back-to-back 40s. He's going to have 40+ again against the Bombers. That's my big call, Max Holmes, 40.
We'll be tracking that one live as well.
We will.
We could do a live in the last quarter to see what touches he's on.
Sneaky bet.
Yeah, maybe. Leo.
I'm going Bont 30+ and 2+ goals against the Saints. Now, we actually got this last time they played.
So is that a big call?
Well, can I explain?
Sure.
Thank you. He averages just over 2 goals in the last 5 against St Kilda. But the reason I think this is a big call is he hasn't hit 30 touches in a while. I think his last 5 have been around sort of the mid to low 20s. Does hit the scoreboard, quite often, but again, last 5, not as much. So I just think this is the game where he comes out, bounces back, leads the Dogs to a victory. And yeah, I just love the Bont. Give him a Brownlow.
They don't necessarily need him in the forward line either with Darcy coming
true.
back.
But he can score from the midfield very easily.
Yes.
Score from the back line. Is that good?
He's that good.
love him.
My big call, I'm going Freo. So I was trying to look at who's going to have a smash.
Way to go, mate.
I think Freo will genuinely smash North Melbourne, and Michael Frederick will kick 4 goals. So I was looking
I
at
don't mind
Bolton.
that.
I was looking at a few other players. He's kicked 3 goals 4 times this year. Michael Frederick. He's had an underrated season. He's been pretty good. I think he kicked 3 goals last game. I reckon he's going to bump that up to 4 and have his season best 4 goals against North, because the speed that he possesses, the agility and things like that, North don't have a matchup for him. If Luke McDonald's on him,
Yeah, I like that.
if Luke McDonald's playing on Michael Frederick, see you later.
That's a great call.
Thank you.
good.
You don't have
You're
the
being very
matchup.
nice to me this show. It's
Apart
weird.
from when I criticised you for something I can't remember. But
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, good call, mate. Anyway, that is Shambles, and that will do us for the AFL Today Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe to the AFL Today Show on YouTube and follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more footy content all season long. Subscribe, star, and like all of our shows, on our podcast apps. That's Cricket Today Show, AFLW Today, Hold All Tickets, True Bloods, Honest Beers, and Footy Form Guide. Thank you very much to Brody and Alessi behind the camera. Thank you, Leo.
Ta.
No worries. Thank you, Marcus.
Cheers, status.
We will see you Sunday for AFL Today's Wrap.